everybody. It's Marilyn Wilson from RE Technology. We're just if we want to grab a cup of coffee or a glass of water, we're just letting people in. We've seen a bunch of people queuing up to see the famous Ricky Carruth tell us about how to be amazing online marketers. So just give us 1 second and we'll jump in. Great to see you guys, Ricky and Stephanie.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Good to see you guys.
Stephanie's in at the Florida Realtors Convention right now, having lots of fun.
I am. It's been great. Packed. It was packed the past couple days. So the energy's been good. I'm gonna have a whole lot of stories to tell because it's been awesome just talking to agents for the past 48 hours. There's a lot to tell, and I'm excited to share more soon. So it's been great. The enthusiasm's there, with everything going on, and we're going to talk about it here today and lean into that. But despite everything, right, post August 17th, what was the atmosphere and what was the energy like? And people were pumped. I don't think I've ever had so many people coming up to me saying, hey, I really need to do better marketing. I really need to make this my priority right now.
Well, that's kind of the trademark, if you will, of agents, right? They're just super resilient. And with big changes, right? Big changes, it brings fear, but it also brings a lot of excitement for, the unknown opportunities. And so I think a lot of agents are, both fearful and excited at the same time.
Great. Well, I think we got a good chunk of people coming in now, so why don't we jump in and let's get this rolling? But I totally agree with you, Ricky. So thriving despite industry shifts, I think that, that says it all. I think if there's someone that doesn't know we've had industry shifts, they probably aren't on this call because there's been a lot of changes. And I agree with what you just said, Ricky. I think there's, with adversity comes opportunity. And the word I like to use for realtors is they're scrappy, right? You can't kill a realtor off. Like if they want to be in this business, they're going to figure it out. We've had up markets, down markets, hot markets, cold markets, scary markets, fun markets, busy markets, not busy markets, and yet somehow people make it through. It's a group that's just resilient. You're not a commission only salesperson if you're afraid, right? Just doesn't work. So anyway, let's just jump in and let's get talking about this stuff. So let's go to the next slide. I want to officially introduce you guys. I am Marilyn Wilson. I'm the president of RE Technology and also the CEO of the Wave Group Consulting Group. And I'm super excited to have these guys here because really what we want to do at RE Technology is show all of you the best ways to take affordable technologies and make them really work for you. Because great real estate sales don't happen by accident. You got to do the work, right? So first, I want to introduce Stephanie Alfonso, a good friend of ours. She's from Constant Contact, has been in our industry forever, worked for many other companies that you guys know and love in the online marketing space. And Ricky Carruth, our real estate broker, influencer, coach, rock star person, who's going to show us today how talk to us today about what he does to make sure that he's doing the right thing to continue to grow his sphere, continue to engage people, continue to build those relationships, and how online marketing is a core component of that. So welcome, guys.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Marilyn. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. And Ricky, of course, thank you so much for being with us. It is such a treat to have you join us, and I'm super excited. So yeah, I am with Constant Contact, guys, Senior Director of Vertical Innovation, and all that really means is just a fancy way of saying that I get to really focus on how we can create education and content and a user experience and all these great things for the real estate vertical in particular. It is my passion. My passion truly is education, educating agents on best practices of how to make their business grow. And I get to fortunately do that under the umbrella of Constant Contact. Before we dive in, Ricky, you want to say anything about yourself?
Oh, yeah, guys. Again, great to be here. Thanks for having me. For those of you watching that aren't familiar with me, I've been in the game since 2002. I was a top #1 Remax agent in Alabama for many years. I sold 100 properties for 8 years in a row as a single agent. And then I got into coaching. And really, I loved real estate sales. Well, I loved it until I didn't. And then it was time to move on to another passion. And now helping agents get up to those 100 deals a year or whatever their goals are has really kind of turned into what I enjoy doing. And I'm at a place in my life where I don't have to do this anymore. I do it out of the love of doing it and helping people and serving others. And it's the same way I built my real estate business, around serving, helping and focusing on the relationship over the transaction. And that's what it's all about. So I'm excited to be here and share with you guys some thoughts concerning the big changes in the industry, and because there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of conflicting information out there. So hopefully I can help you guys understand a few things that you can keep in mind to reduce the stress and the fear about what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. And so I like that was a perfect segue, Ricky, into my next slide. And I just hope everybody gets my awesome slide here, because internally, some people didn't understand. But when I said, listen, what's going on in real estate today, I just kept singing some Marvin Gaye. So I just had to highlight him here on my slide today. So what's going on in real estate today? I know it's a loaded question. Ricky, you have really built a brand around being very straightforward about, hey, here's what's going on, but here's how we can lean in. Here's how we can be successful. I just want to hear from you. Give us a quick, all right, guys, this is what's happening. Loaded question. What are we thinking? Is the sky falling? Right?
Mm.
Are we really in a moment of chaos?
Mm.
Or yes, this has happened, but so what are you doing? What are you doing to lean in right now? How are you coaching your agents?
Yeah, I mean, just to answer the question, it's really too early to tell,
Mm,
honestly, right?
yeah.
And the bigger question is, I guess the bigger stance would be, who cares?
Mm,
If the sky falls, right? If let's just say buyer agent commissions go to zero, right? Who cares? If you're a real estate agent, okay, then you're a real estate agent. You're not a listing agent. You're not a buyer's agent. You're a real estate agent. You help people buy and sell. I've never referred a buyer out. 80% of my business was always listings. But I never referred a buyer out. I always took every single person and helped them do whatever it was they were trying to do. Even the buyers that drove you around and drove you crazy and all that, I took them all. I didn't ever get rid of anyone. I helped every person that came across do whatever it is they were trying to do. And so if you live by that principle, that, I think, you know why I think a lot of agents are worried is because we've grown into an industry that's very dependent on the industry for business.
mm,
We get leads given to us by lead gen companies or team leaders or a brokerage or whatever. And we're so used to as a group of just kind of sitting back and letting the leads come to us, right? And when you're dependent on a lead, if you're dependent on some other a third party, whatever that is, for leads, you don't have the ability to go out here and create your own business, then you
mm.
are susceptible to rule changes or market swings or whatever. You're susceptible to changes in the market, changes in the industry. But when you're able to go out and create your own business and you don't need lead gen companies or buyer leads and online leads, and you're not waiting around on YouTube at leads to call you. You're able to go out there and build your own business. Then nothing really matters because you can create business anytime you want, as much of it as you want, because it's an unlimited force. I mean, think about deals as like an all you can eat buffet, right? When you go to like an all you can eat buffet, can you eat all the food? No, you
Right.
can't. And if all the people in the room, let's just say all the people in the room are agents and the food on the buffet are closings, if all the people in the room got the buffet down a little bit, what does the restaurant do? It fills it back up with more food, right? It never ends. Tomorrow there'll be another batch of closings in your market. The next day, another batch of closings. There'll never be a day in history or in the future, right? There's never been a day in history, there's never going to be a day in the future where there are not truckloads of closings happening every single day in every market. It's just it's massive, right? It's unlimited. So when you get the principles down, to answer your question, yeah, I'm long-winded. When
No,
when you
that's
when you get
great.
the principles down of how the universe actually works, then you're not really worried about stuff like this. You
Yeah.
know, if things change, you just change with it and you continue serving people and helping people and doing deals. So yeah, that's
I
the way
love
you
it.
need to think
And
about it.
honestly, Ricky, that's so encouraging, right? It's so encouraging to think about in concept, right? And it'll pump us up when we think about that kind of motivation. So why are so many agents fighting it? I'm here at a conference right now. I'm having a lot of conversations, and just my day to day is engulfed with just having conversations with agents, and some people are fighting it. They're really having a
Yeah,
hard
they're
time
fighting
embracing
it because they've been doing it for so long the certain way. And change is hard for a lot of people. And they feel like it's their right
it.
to operate in a certain way.
Yeah,
But they don't realize that no, it's not their right, honestly, which is kind of sad to say, but it's not because if it like okay, if you want to take it that far, then why do you need to go take a test to have a real estate license to even do real estate, right?
mm,
Why why don't you just wake up in the morning and say, well, I'm a human being, I have the right to go sell real estate and get commissions, right? There's rules,
yeah,
right? There's rules.
yeah, yeah,
And if they change the rules, then guess what? You have to abide by the rules. And
yeah,
and
right,
and and just to go on record, like I'm 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 not for the changes that are happening because the old model right now, it's the old model. We're past August 17th, right? The old model allowed everyone to have representation.
right.
And the new model, there's going to be a lot of unrepresented buyers.
Oh yeah.
And I think what's funny right now, and I'm sure you're seeing this at the conference you're at.
Mhm.
I'm referring to this as like a dead cat bounce, like in stocks, right?
Yeah.
Where there's like this false rally happening. Buyers right now, agents are like, oh, we're going to be fine. Buyers are signing agreements for 3%. We're going to be just fine. Nothing's going to change. Yeah, that's happening right now because they don't understand what's really happening. And because we've been in this system for 40 years, it's going to take a long time to unwind all of
Right.
that to get down to what the true new norm is, right? And
Yep.
so whatever's happening right now, take it with a grain of salt, but
Yeah.
go back to your principles. I'm here to serve as many people as I can, help them buy and sell real estate. I don't care what the rules end up being or what the market does. I'm going to continue to move forward and do my best to help as many people because, like the slide that you have up, these people need our help,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. 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 Share and just sharing that message. Over 90% of home buyers right now are using are using a real estate agent, right?
Hmm.
It's not really that big of a question, right? Especially just just from my observation, most people when they go to buy a home, they think of using a real estate agent.
Hmm.
So, will this change? I
Again,
mean,
too early to tell, right? Too early to tell. I think what's interesting is that people um the group of people out there who think agents aren't valuable,
mm,
they're like, oh, AI is going to replace you guys and all this stuff. And Zillow is going to do this. Well, what's interesting is that we're this 90%, I don't know, 90% and it's 90% sellers. That's an all-time high.
yeah,
We're at an all-time high with the percentage of buyers and sellers who use an agent by choice. And we're also at an all-time high with the amount of information that these consumers have at their fingertips. So it's
right,
like, okay, well, Zillow's giving them all the information. So why are we at an all-time high of people that are using agents? Wouldn't you think that the more information they have, the less they would use agents? Well, that's not the case. That's not what data is showing us. And
right.
I believe one reason is because the more information they have, the more complicated of a process it seems, and the
Mm.
more they need us, right?
Oh, bingo.
Um, but to
I
answer,
love that. Oh, sorry, Ricky, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say to answer this question, will this change? It's too early to tell. If you look at if you go by just complete data from other countries who already abide by the same rules that were just imposed on us,
Hmm.
there's buyer agents are basically very rare in those
Mm,
countries. I mean, those buyers go straight to the listing agent. If you go based on that, then you say, okay, well, buyers agents what might be far and few between. But
mm,
again, those countries never went through 40 years of the rules that we've had,
right.
right? And so again, it's too early to tell, but I'm just gonna throw out the more important statement here, which is it doesn't matter
Mm,
if this changes, if this goes to 50%, if this goes to 10%, if it stays at 90%. You don't care, right? The
mm,
only thing you should care about is am I helping people today buy and sell real estate, right? If somebody comes to me and they're wanting to buy and they only deal with a listing agent, great.
mhm.
Great. Here's what I got listed. Take a look and go look at what the next agent has listed. Awesome. And then I'm continuing on my mission to contact people to see what it is they're trying to do and why so I can help them do it. Right. You just got to keep moving forward and try not to listen to the noise.
Love it. Yeah, it's and you're right. And it is a lot of noise, and a lot of noise brings misinformation and assumptions and all of that. And something I was just chatting with an agent about earlier today was like, I had a friend of mine. I went to a birthday party a couple weeks ago with my daughter, and she just listed her multi-million-dollar home for sale by owner. Bought another home, multi-million-dollar home, didn't use an agent, was sharing with me like I just really don't see the need for an agent. I can just do it all myself. And of
Mm.
course, to me in the industry, I'm like cringing, and so many agents are like, "Oh my goodness, how could that happen?" I said, "Listen, this is on us, right? As the agent, you need to make sure that you are communicating with the people around you, right? Your sphere, the people who are going to buy and sell with you, you're in charge of the information that they know." And so with that being said, and we'll move on for a second here, I also want to tell the audience, you guys have seen a QR code that I've had up on these slides. If you want to go ahead, open up your camera, scan that QR code. You all have access to join Constant Contact and join under the Ricky Carruth umbrella. There's a lot of great stuff that Ricky provides as far as kind of how to template content and things that he has used in his own business to be successful, and that thousands of agents that he's coaching are using with Constant Contact. And you guys all have that accessibility to that here today. So scan it, put your information in. You guys have all the discounts and everything that comes along with being under the umbrella of Ricky Carruth here with Constant Contact. And one of the things I love about Ricky when I listen to him on Instagram and his YouTube channel and everything is Ricky will say all the time, "Hey, listen, send an email once a week." Right? Every day or every same day, every week, forever and ever. It'll change your career. This is how you can effectively communicate with your audience, right? So anyway, so that being said, just wanted to let you guys know what that QR code is. Ricky, this is a quote from you. If you don't understand what's going on and you aren't ready to pounce and take advantage of what's going on, you could be letting the biggest opportunity of your career slip through your fingers. Can you share with us a little bit about that? You said that in a video. It encouraged me. It made me really think about it. Again, taking the stuff that might stress us out right now. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Things aren't like they've been. I've been in the industry for 30 years. But wait a minute, we need to look at this as opportunity.
Well, I think you have to look at, okay, what's the worst case scenario, right? So I'll ask you, you're at the conference and stuff, you're talking to agents. What are the scariest worst case scenarios that you're hearing about?
I think everybody is just looking at it like I have not been focusing on my marketing. I've just been kind of leaning into the ease of familiarity. And I think a lot of it too, Ricky, is the unknown, even for agents, of what's going to happen next. And so they're kind of like, I'm freaking out. But if you
Mm.
ask them why,
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
But what could possibly happen next? See, this is the thought process that you have to have.
yeah,
What
yeah.
what could possibly happen next that would be bad, right?
Well, I think
Is
they're
it-
thinking they're going to be, not considered valuable anymore. That they're thinking people aren't going to want to use a real estate agent anymore. It's just kind of like, oh,
Mhm.
is AI going to take over the agent?
Well,
I'll
even
like,
well,
oh,
even
it's not going to
even
take over the
even
agent.
the countries where buyer agents don't exist, listing agents are still king. Like everybody
Yeah,
still
yeah.
lists their properties with agents, right? And so you think worst case scenario, if buyer agency as we know it kind of disappears and let's say it goes down to like 10-20% of buyers actually use agents, like that's probably worst case scenario. Look
Mm,
at what the mark look at and see, you can't control where that's going. So you're sitting here
right.
worried about something that may or may not happen, and you're allowing it to mess with your psyche around what you're doing in the present time. It's
Mhm.
literally useless, right? It's irrelevant to even think about it, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is continue to build your business and
Right.
help people buy and sell real estate. That's all you can do. And the reason why I say this, let's see, what does it say? Understand what's going on. And yeah, the thing is okay, if you have if like 60% of you thinks, oh, this is, I can do this, it's great, and 40% of you doesn't, right? Then you're at this level right here. But if you just increase the positivity from 60 to 80, you literally will double your production. And that little extra bit of focus. So when you take your focus off just a little bit and you're focusing on something that's not only negative, but literally doesn't matter, because it may or may not happen. And the thing is if the worst case that you're worried about happens, look at
Mm.
how great the market still is. You've still got the listing side. Let's talk worst case, right?
Mm.
Let's say that we get to a 2% list, right? And you tack on another 1% if an unrepresented buyer comes your way. And let's just say you represent the seller and an unrepresented buyer comes through and you handle the whole thing, and 3% is kind of where we land, right?
Mhm.
Worst case, I'm thinking it's going to be more like 4, something like that. But let's just say worst case. Like, my goodness, like, still, like, you have to look at that and think, what a great opportunity, right? What I could create a massive, massive 7-figure business off
Yeah.
of that business model, right? You take what you can get in this world and you make it work. See, this is the difference in winners and people who don't win. I'm not going to say the other
Mm.
word, right? The
Right. Right.
winners and people
Yeah.
who don't win, right?
So what are your
Winners,
thoughts? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
winners make it happen no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? They never make excuses, right? And they operate. See, your brain has only two paths that it can focus on, right? And I can only focus on one or the other. It's either fear or love.
Yeah.
If they're focused on fear, they can't focus on love. If they're focused on fear, they're thinking scarcity.
Mhm.
They're desperate. They're
Yep.
thinking, I hope I get this deal. I need this deal. And you can't even communicate to your prospects in a way that's attractive. But if you can release that and just focus on the love side, where it's like business is unlimited. I don't need this deal. Now you can literally focus on the person and
Yeah.
what they need and ask the right questions and help them do what they're trying to do. And I think too many agents are blocking themselves from the opportunity because of their scarcity mindset, their worried. Like, when
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
worried, you can't be productive.
Right. Right. And and fear paralyzes. And I think that, that fear turns agents into prioritizing transactions over being a trusted advisor and all of that. So what are your thoughts if an agent says, well, you know what? 3%, I won't, or 4%, I won't go any less than that. And if you don't sign to that, you're not okay with that, I won't work with you.
Um, I think it's like, I come from a different background, and I
Hmm.
think it's foolish, because one of my secret tips to negotiating is to be flexible,
Hmm.
right? Like part of negotiations is to get as much as you can, but it's also not to lose the deal.
Yeah.
If I'm going to lose the deal over a 0.5%,
Hmm.
right? A 0.5%, then not only did I lose that deal, but I lost that relationship. And that relationship was worth 10 to 20 deals to me over the life of my career.
That's
And
right.
I can't, and I just lost 10 to 20 future deals over a 0.5% on this deal. The
Right.
numbers don't, the numbers don't add up to me, right? It doesn't math.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So here I have up a negotiator's dream world. Again, Ricky, I pulled that from one of your videos, and I love the way that you had put that. Of this is for those of us who are leaning in, that we are able to be the negotiators that we are supposed to be. Then this is a dream world. This is time for us to shine. This is for those that are keen in their negotiation skills to rise to the top. But even, to piggyback off of what you were saying, Ricky, this is a relationship building business.
Mhm.
If we lose sight of that, this isn't the industry for us, right? Like it's all about 86% of our business is coming from our list, right? It's coming from our sphere of influence. What are we doing to foster those relationships? And like you said, squabbling over 0.5%, that's kicking ourselves real hard for unnecessary reasons, right?
I think so. I mean, just being flexible, right? I mean, we just threw those numbers out there just to throw some hypothetical numbers out there. I mean, um, being flexible. Like I took a lot of listings at literally 0.01% less, right? 0.01. A lot of agents work on half, whole, like zero point 0.5, 1, 2.5, 3. It's like, no, I'm doing 2.9 or 4.99. I mean, um, yeah, like for me, it's an investment back into my business, right? And I'm about building a career. Okay, I'm about building a career, which comes back to the email. Okay,
Mm,
so the only reason I was able to make $1 million in a year is because of a weekly email, right?
mhm.
It's the only reason, right? Because the email enables me to make sure the people I met 8 years ago never forgot me. And I
Mm,
can't do that with social media because I don't run the algorithms. And
right.
the
You
organic
don't know
reach
that
on
list.
what's that?
I was saying you don't own that list.
Well,
Yourself.
the organic reach is like 5% on social versus like 90% on email.
Right.
And so when you think about the organic reach forever, not just because the algorithm liked to do it that week, I can make sure that everyone on my list actually sees, can see me in their inbox every single week on the same day of the week. And it shows how consistent, hardworking, dependable, and professional I am. And that's what wins people over. They want to see that consistency. And the only way to really do that, is through email and then developing that list over time, building it up. And when you get to the $1 million, whatever that is for you, right? That's relative to your goals. Maybe you want to get to a 500,000 or 2 million. When you get there and you've built it up with the weekly email and you get there, you don't have to prospect another day in your life,
Right.
right? You just keep doing the week. When I hit $1 million for the first time in 2017, and I never made another cold call in my life, and I made $1 million every year after with zero social media, zero ad spend, zero anything. All
Yeah.
I did was the weekly email to continue to push out my content that I controlled every week, every Wednesday, and I
Mm.
continue to make $1 million every year. So it's kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, when you operate like that.
I
So
love it. I mean, Ricky, you obviously don't have a leaky bucket. I love that. Marilyn, you had
yeah,
your
so
hand up.
yeah, we've got a question that I think is an awesome one. I wanted to have you answer, Ricky. So this is from Noreen. And she's not in a unique situation. She said she's in a very expensive part of the country here in Westchester County, New York, Westchester,
Mhm.
as they say. Most buyers can't afford a medium priced home now, and now they may have to pay another fee, or feel
Yep.
like they pay another fee.
Yep.
How is showing our value going to help them decide to work with us? So how do we, in a market like that where they're already spending a lot of money, how do you break through? How do you make it work?
Oh, have the listing. Have the listing that they want to buy. When you got the listing, the buyers comes to you. You ain't got to worry about how to bring value to the buyer. You got the value. You're dangling the carrot. You have the house they want to buy and you represent the seller. That's how you bring value, guys. We got to get out of the mindset of representing buyers, honestly, right? See, buyer, any money you make off buyer commissions at this point moving forward, I'm just telling you what's on my mind. You need to treat that as a bonus in your business. It doesn't need to be the foundation of your business, right? It doesn't need to be the core of your business, right? Listings do, and they always have been. We've just grown into this industry that is, through the big corporations selling us leads and making it all easy and stuff. We've
Mm.
grown dependent on it. We need to get away from it, right? But I'm gonna come back and answer your question, Noreen. What you need to do is you need to sit down and write down a paragraph. I did this in one of my videos. You need to write down a paragraph about all the value that you bring to a buyer, and actually make your brain sweat for a second, right? Because you're asking us, how can you bring value to a buyer? I mean, you've got to be the one that sits down and actually maps out the value that you bring to a buyer, all the things that you do that they don't know that you do. And
Mm.
then you write all that out in a paragraph, and then what do? You read it and you rewrite it and you make it better and you keep tweaking it and you keep working on it. And then you memorize it and you say it over and over and over again where you know it like the back of your hand, where when a buyer comes to you, you already have it programmed in your mind exactly how you're going to present, like you're going to tell them everything in a nice, efficient, professional manner about you're going to blow their mind with the things that you say that you do that they haven't thought about. They're going to say, you know what? You're right. I do need somebody to do all that stuff. So to answer that, so I answered the question two different ways. One, have the listing. That's the best answer. And don't worry about them. And but to answer your question, answer the question that you want to hear, come up with your value proposition and memorize it and have it ready when they ask you.
Mm.
Can I throw something in here, Ricky? Because we do a lot of consumer research and just to underline what you're saying. So we asked consumers that had purchased in the last 3 years, so buyers, buyer people, 88% of them said that their agent was worth the money that they paid them, right?
Yep.
But importantly, they also said, I didn't really know how much value I was getting from them until the end of the transaction.
Mm.
But to your point, you got to sell it up front. You can, of course, continue to sell it all the way through the process. And of course, afterward, like we're talking about here, but they were a little unclear about what the value of their agent was going to be until they actually saw their skills, saw their experience, saw their negotiation abilities, saw the fact that they knew that zoning ordinance and no, that neighborhood floods more than they tell you it does, whatever the issues are that people bring, right?
Yep.
So really, really important.
I mean, that's a great thing to bring up too, Marilyn. What's funny is, 88% of folks are saying that, they got a ton of value from their buyer's agent, but yet we've got this stat here saying that only 13% of people that are saying that they would use their agent again are actually doing it, right?
Yeah.
So I might have my bucket full, but 10 years from now, only 13% of them are actually going to use me again. That is, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that keeps me up at night. Right. But
That's
to your point, Ricky,
the reason being is because they failed to continue to market to those people correctly.
right.
Right. That's all it is. They just failed to keep them within their flow. You can't do it on social media because if people aren't liking your content, then social media will quit showing them your content, even though they're following you, they're not seeing your content.
Right.
And I mean, okay, I just seen a comment and the thing is about every week in email, like it's not a high frequency because they get spam mail. They get about 100 pieces of spam mail every day, right? And you're not spam mail. You're their trusted real estate agent sending once a week. It's actually low frequency. And if you're not doing every week, then you're going to lose to the agents who are doing every week. And if you're doing a monthly generic that your brokerage created, that's just generic and there's no personality of you behind it, you're also going to lose. These emails have to show your personality. And if you're worried about people unsubscribing, let me just address that really quickly. People are going to unsubscribe, but those unsubscribers are habitual unsubscribers. They would unsubscribe from a once a year email. Okay, the frequency is not what's making them unsubscribe, right? It's just the fact that they love to unsubscribe from stuff. Those people. And what you're doing is there's people that want to see weekly content from you. And if you don't send it because you're worried about the unsubscribers, aka the people that don't want to do business with you, and you don't send it to the people who want to do business with you, who want to see your content, but now they're slowly forgetting you because you're catering to the people that don't want to do business with you. You're catering to the big people that don't want to do business with you, that don't want your content. Don't do that. Cater to the people that do want your weekly content. It's a filtration process. And you're looking for those people in your database that love what you're doing. And the only way to do it is constant contact, is constant content.
Yeah. I obviously, Ricky, I couldn't agree with you more. Oh, go ahead, Marilyn.
Yeah, Sadiq asked a second point, which could be helpful. And as you said, you got to be true to who you are. But what have you seen just generally, especially right now? What kinds of content, what kinds of topics are you seeing that are really resonating?
So when people do the QR code or go to my link there and sign up for Constant Contacts, I have a 4-week email template system where they can run it back every month, the first week of the month, second, third week. So I do restaurant of the month. I do stats of the month where I give market data. Then I do deal of the month where I pick out a great listing and showcase the listing. And then I do news of the month, like, if there's a development coming in, or there's a festival, or there's something happening, there's a new bridge or whatever, right? Um, and so I never do anything national. I never do any national news. It's always local news. I stay away from anything national, any national stats, anything that's not local, because they want local stuff and they want your opinions on those things. See, that's what separates you and everybody else is you. You're unique, right? And when you do the email, if you're just doing cold numbers and stats, it's just going to be just that, just cold, and they get that from every other agent. But when you say, here's the stats and here's what I think about it and here's what my buyers are saying, well, now they're getting a lot of stuff they're not getting anywhere but your channel, and they're going to open those emails every single time. So just keeping it simple, sticking to the script every month and kind of using those templates makes it really easy.
Would you say generally it's just consistency matters? Even I don't want to see more than the content, but as much as the content?
As much as, yeah. It's a package deal. It's an extension of who you are. So if you send it every week on the same day, everybody thinks, wow, they're consistent, they're dependable. They start to, your brand with them starts to become dependable, where they know they could depend on that email coming through. Well, that's the kind of agent they want. They want a dependable agent that's consistent, that does what they say, that has great information. And that's where the content part comes in, right? So you're dependable, you send it, right? But then you're professional and you have great things and you're adding value. That's where the actual content piece comes in. So it's just as valuable. You can't really have one without the other and make it super successful. If you guys go to the link that they put in the chat, there's like 2 years worth of my email that I have there for you that you can check out. There's also a training video there where I screen shared and made a video. I made an email for you. And there's a link for you to sign up for Constant Contact there, as well as the QR code to get my 4-week template system so that you can just start doing it.
Love it. Okay, so all this is great stuff, so important. Going back to the other slide that I had up with the leaky bucket, that's how you patch it up. If you're losing all this business, only 13% of your repeat referral business is actually using you again. You've got to plug it up with that consistent content, staying in front of your sphere, making sure that, when people are ready to buy or sell, you're the name that they think of. It's so important to not be forgettable, right? It's like these big ideas are so fundamentally easy. We just have to do it. So moving on. Ricky, this is why I love listening to your videos, because you're so just to the point. And I loved this, and I had to bring this up. 3 reasons agents are broke. And I giggled when I saw this because I was like, this is so on brand for Ricky Carruth. 3 reasons why agents are broke. You said, number 1, they come from a W-2 background, right? They don't know how to run a business. Number 2, they have an illusion that competition exists, and agents won't make calls. Can you talk about this? I love your point here, or your points.
Let's see, W-2. Oh, yeah. No, this is good stuff. What I find is 3 things, right? Agents that are not, what's holding agents back, I guess, from making a mill or making 500 or 2 mil or whatever they're trying to do. Number 1, they don't have clarity. Right. So that every day when they go to work, they're like, is what I'm doing actually going to add up to what the big goal is in 3 to 5 to 7 years? And they don't know, because these actions don't really change your life today. And you can't really see how massive they are, results they're creating until like years later. That's what's so hard about it, real estate. And a lot of success, seekers, right? They're doing the things that they know work, but it's not really producing anything right now. So then they start questioning, is it really working? So clarity is the first thing. And I have this illustration with using the weekly email and making your calls and doing all this stuff to get to $1 million. The second thing is confidence, right? And that has a lot to do with competition, right? And living in that fear side and scarcity. And, oh my God, what if I lose this deal? It's like, you don't need that deal. There's 15 more deals right behind it. And so when you operate from treating every single prospect like family, then competition doesn't exist because like you don't care if they buy or sell. You don't really care what they think about you. You're there just to help them. And like if they don't do a deal, that's fine. There's a million other people right behind them. So it turns into a competition doesn't exist world. But the next thing after clarity is confidence. And the reason why this is reason why most agents are not confident is because they've lied to them. They've let themselves down so much. They don't trust themselves. And so they can't instill trust within themselves to other people because they're like, I don't even trust myself. How am I gonna? And so they talk to prospects, and the prospects can tell like there's something missing here.
Mm.
And the thing is they're like, I'm gonna get up and go to the gym in the morning, and they don't do it. I'm gonna make calls today, and they don't do it. I'm gonna do the weekly email, and then they don't do it. And so they make these promises to themselves that they don't keep, and they're like, they're the only person that knows every lie they've ever told because they told it to themselves, and it crushes their confidence, and they try to fake it, right? They try to fake it with their prospects, but that you can't fake it. You can't fake it. So
Yeah.
you got to if you can start saying I'm going to get up at this time and get up at that time. I'm going to make calls at this time and you stick true to the promises you tell yourself, you'll start communicating better, you'll start doing deals, people will start trusting you because they can tell you're a trustworthy person because they can tell you trust yourself. And you can't hide it if you don't, right? So, yeah, I could go on and on and on, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
you
good.
guys
That's
get
good
the point.
stuff. Yeah, that's really good stuff. Marilyn, you want to chime in there? 3 reasons why agents are broke.
No, I love everything that you just said. I love that the illusion that competition exists. That is a big one. People are, it's kind of the imposter syndrome. We all wake up some mornings thinking, "Am I really who I think that I'm trying to pretend that I am?" We all have that. Nobody's 100% confident, but you can't let it get you down. If you feel that way, it will come through, and people will start to feel that lack of energy and support from you, and it's not going to work. I love the first one. It is not the same. When you get a paycheck every 2 weeks, when you work for a corporation, and then all of a sudden that's not coming in, you gotta learn to how to have that discipline and that there is not a highly successful agent I've talked to that doesn't tell me they have that discipline, that from 8 to 9 they do this, 9 to 10 they do that, 10 to 11 they do they have a consistency in their own thought process and in their own work habits, in addition to the marketing that we're talking about. It all kind of goes together. It's like if you do the same things well every single day, and oh, by the way, there's this thing called CRMs that people don't want to use either. They're kind of a good part of where you keep track of all this stuff that you're doing, right? So I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, I love that. I wanted to share with you guys just something super quick because it was a story that I was told literally this morning. And it really ties into Ricky's whole philosophy of, hey, treat these people like family, give to get. And anyway, this guy at the conference, he used to own a company that sold a lot of hardware and equipment. And I'm not exactly sure for what, but anyway, brick and mortar store, had a guy come in and he needed a particular wire. That they don't sell. They had a ton of them, but they don't sell individually. So the guy that was working there told the guy like, no, we don't, I'm sorry, we don't sell that. And the guy's thinking like, well, I know you have a bunch of these, like, can I just buy one? Anyway, so was turning him away. The owner, the gentleman I just met, goes in the back, grabs the wire, goes out to the guy. He's like, hey man, here you go. Like he just gave it to him. Guy leaves. Couple weeks later, comes back in. Apparently, this gentleman is extremely wealthy, owns several businesses. And of course, it was the largest contract that his company had ever gotten from the guy that he gave the free wire to. And so it really made an impact on me and just the way that his mentality works as a salesperson, right? You're giving to get, right? We don't want to hold and clutch onto something like that deal, right? That we have to have so tight that we are forgetting what our purpose is, what we're here to do, right? We've got bad commission breath because we're so desperate, but we need to give, right? Give, get, give, get. And I think that when agents have that mentality, especially around the idea of all the buyer's compensation stuff changing, if we think about our mission, if we think about value, Ricky, I love in your templates, you're like, hey, highlight a restaurant. That stuff's important to me. I want, especially I'm moving to a new area. I want to know what's around there. I'm a foodie. What's going on in the area. Yeah. Show me what this is. Like, give me some value, before you're just saying, buy with me, sell with me, buy with me, sell with me. I take 3% and nothing less. People do business with people they like, know, and trust, right? Thank you, Zig Ziglar. You said it best. Now we need to really lean in and start acting like the type of person that we want to do business with. So I'm with you. Consistency brings success in all areas of life. We need to walk in our confidence, knowing that we wake up every morning with integrity and leaning into being that trusted, valued, consistent, dependable agent. And I think we're going to be really successful. So, yeah, I'm almost speechless. I feel like we've said so much, and I'm just encouraged just by our dialogue here, and I'm sure everybody that's listening feels the same way. I want everyone to take advantage of Ricky Carruth's Zero to Diamond strategy that he has here with Constant Contact. We are extremely honored to have Ricky as someone who can testify unto the success he's built off of a very powerful yet fundamentally easy concept, my friends, right? Share your value, stay in constant contact, no pun intended, wink, wink, with your sphere. Send an email the same day, every week, forever and ever. Watch your business grow. My goodness gracious, I want everyone to grasp that. So, Ricky, I want to end with you. We'll wrap it up, take some questions.
Oh yeah, no, I think the biggest thing, guys, is just don't listen to all this. Keep it simple. Think worst case scenario, and then think, well, it doesn't matter if that happens. I'm still going to crush it, right? That's the only way you can think, and that's the way I think. I'm an optimist. I see the positive in anything because there's a positive and negative side to every single thing. Everything has two sides, and if you're looking at the negative, you can't see the positive, right? And if you look at the positive, you can't see the negative. So I just always look at the positive side. I look for the opportunities because it's always there. Even when you think worst case scenarios, there's still massive, massive opportunity. And you just got to think, I'm just going to continue to crush it. Why? Because I'm a winner. And that's what winners do.
I love it. Marilyn? Yeah, I knew your hand was going to come up.
Question, frankly, this is from me, I think probably from others too. Right now, and everybody's in different markets, so what kind of negative press that you've gotten in your market. Some of it are worse than others, but there's been a lot of stuff talking about how agents make too much money. We all know the story. I don't have to tell everybody. Do you see a role in this idea of consistent communication where you can help people understand what's really going on and understand what the real value of a realtor is? Can you use that local?
I don't know. I think it's more of a massive social experiment is what this is. I think that you're going to have people who I think the cream always comes to the top. I don't think we have to I don't think we can go out and educate people, sure, but at the end of the day, most people, when it comes down to paying money versus getting service, if they feel like the service isn't worth the money, they're not going to pay it. And then they're going to go try to do it on their own. And then they're going to run into some real rude awakenings in terms of handling that process. And then they're going to come running back. But we'll see, because I think things are a lot different than what agents actually think is happening right now. I think things are a lot different than what agents actually think, or actually how they think this thing's going to go down. But no, I think the general public, just give them a little time. They're gonna find out shortly exactly how much value that agents bring, and then the market's gonna dictate what happens, right? We have no control over it. The customers have no control over it, right? They're going to pay. People only pay for more than the value of the money they pay, right? So if I have $1 and you have $1 and we trade dollars, we still got $1 a piece. Okay, we're not going to do that deal. But if you have $10 and I have $1, I'm going to do that deal all day long. It's the same thing with commissions, right? They paid us 5-6% for all this time because it was worth the value is worth more than that money, right? Yep. That's why I started at 5 or 6% when in 2002, and I still get 5 or 6% now. It hasn't changed. Why? Because we're actually underpaid. Like, agents are actually underpaid for the value that they provide. Whether the general public sees that or not, like whether they decide that it's even true, that's on them, and they're the ones paying it, so their perception matters.
Right.
But from my perspective, the work that I do on a deal, agents are underpaid. I mean, agents go through a lot of stress. They work 70 hours a week. They sacrifice a lot.
Mhm.
And so I feel like agents are underpaid per deal, honestly, in most cases. Sometimes you see, here's the thing, sometimes you get an easy deal,
Yeah.
and you make an easy one, and everybody's like, oh man, must be nice. It's like that was one deal, out of 30, and the other 29 were absolute nightmares, you
Mhm.
know. So it's kind of like buyers, right? You show buyers and you show 5 buyers and one of them buys something. Well, you showed 5 buyers. You're actually getting paid on that one deal from all the work you put into the last 4 that didn't buy anything. It's like these are the things that people don't think about when they're considering the value of real estate agents and what we go through on a daily basis. But nah, I think time will tell, and whatever the free market decides is what we're going to be up against. And worst case scenario, we're all still going to win huge.
So
Yeah.
Ricky, you brought up a great point about most deals are not pretty at some level. Do you ever share the fact that, hey, and you obviously don't mention the particular property or person, but I had a deal that blah, blah, and blah went wrong, and I just want to let you know how I was able to fix it so that I could move on. In other words, I think sometimes we're so afraid to provide any stress or any of the, we think we try to convince consumers that everything's going to be fine, but it isn't fine. And the reason it isn't, it's not fine, or the way it gets fixed is because of agents. Do you ever like just lay that out there and say, this deal was going sideways because of blah, blah, and blah, and I was able to bring it back online, and I can do the same thing for you?
No, we should, but the thing is we're programmed not to do that because we're programmed to smooth everything over for our clients, and we don't want them to know because we want to take on the brunt of that stress for them. That's basically our job, is we're taking on the brunt of the stress. So we don't tell them every little thing because they don't really need to know everything, because it's just going to stress them out. It's going to be unneeded stress on their side. So I think as agents, we're kind of programmed not to talk about that kind of thing because we don't talk about it when it's happening. All right. We don't want to stress our clients out. Yeah, and that's a great point. We don't talk about that kind of stuff. All we talk about is how we sold something in a day and how great it was and how fast we sold it and how all I had to do was this and it sold. And so that's a big reason why the general public has a misconception of our value,
That's correct. You
Absolutely.
don't, like, I think of it as ducks that are swimming calmly on top of the pond, and then you're swimming, you're paddling like crazy underneath, but all they see is the glide, right? They
Hmm.
don't understand that you guys are, your surgeons, your doctors, your whatever analogy you want to use, that these deals don't happen by accident. They happen because I've got the school. I went to the school of hard knocks and I learned about all these things that go wrong. I heard an attorney do this once. I was driving to Orlando, ironically, where Stephanie is today. And he was on the radio talking about, if you are in a whatever kind of deal it was, I don't remember, product liability deal or something, here, this and 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 this can go wrong. And guess what? When I work with you, I make sure this and this and this don't happen. And the credibility that he brought, because it was like, I've been there, I've done that, and I'm going to bring that to you so you don't have to worry about it. I thought it was a really interesting strategy, but we tend to be like, oh, everything's great, everything's perfect. And the truth
Hmm.
is, it isn't. So for what
Well,
it's
and
worth.
that's a testimony to a professional, right? A skilled sailor makes it look easy,
Yeah,
right? We make it look easy, but
Yeah. We're
the
too
rough,
good.
right?
exactly.
I
Exactly.
also, yeah, I mean, I also, I think that there's a lot of singers out there that are amazing and they make it look really easy. And then I try to do it and it's like, I don't know about that. But what's that saying, right? The rough seas made the skilled sailor. We don't really share all about those rough seas and everything that we've gone through. We just want to make sure. I definitely don't want my surgeon telling me everything that went wrong. Right.
Right. That's a
I
good
don't really
point.
want to know that. So maybe for me, who hired you, I don't necessarily need to know all the ins and outs. But I think to both of your points, maybe it's something we need to be better about sharing just in a platform like a video that we make or something of here's an example of something I have dealt with and how the value of an agent helped us to overcome it, right? So maybe we can just be more intentional about sharing those type of testimonials. But as far as I'm happy to know that my transaction went just fine, knowing that I had it in
Right.
the hands of that skilled sailor. So anyway, do we have any more questions in the chat box, Marilyn? I know you've been doing so great moderating that.
Yeah, there actually there was somebody that came in, I guess, that isn't an agent. I think they may be a broker or they might be an MLS. I'm not sure. But I think all the principles you're describing, Ricky, apply to any business, right? Whether you're a broker trying to drive home the value to your own agents, if you're a broker that wants to communicate the value of their brokerage to at that level, an MLS trying to help people understand all the great tools and things that they deliver. The concept works everywhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I have brokers that use it, like you say, for agents to stay in touch with agents, all over. I have other industries that use it, right? So what you have to think about with email is that it's a social media platform.
That's right.
So when you open up your phone and you look at social media, you're scrolling, right? When you open up your phone, look at your email, you're scrolling. It's the same physical motion. You're looking for stuff in the feed that's interesting. It's the same concept, right? And if you're able to produce original, consistent content that appeals to whatever your audience is, then you're going to win in business. You should do social media. You should do text message. You should do all the things, of course. But I think the foundation of it is the email, because that's the one. It's your database. You own the data. You control the narrative. You control the algorithm. You control everything. So start there, make that be the foundation, and then sprinkle everything else on top.
So tell us about the Zero to Diamond program. I love that name. Tell us what everybody gets.
So if you go to zerotodiamond.com, I do a challenge every month. It's called the Set More Listing Appointments Challenge. It's a 4-day challenge. It's a 2-hour a day event. And the first hour is Q&A for the VIPs. They get to just ask me anything all 4 days for an hour before I get into the general session, which is training. Day 1 is lead gen. Day 2 is overcoming your fear of calls and conversion. Day 3 is content creation. And day 4 is the $1 million a year formula. And agents go to it and they leave a completely different person, and they leave with more listings than they showed up with, right? So it's been a huge success.
Awesome. Zerotodiamond.com.
Yep.
And the QR code for that to Ricky's site that you can, if you want to learn more about joining this challenge and coaching with Ricky Carruth, scan that here. That'll take you directly to that webpage where you can get that information and sign up for his next challenge. So yeah, just again, guys, it's been awesome. Ricky, so glad that you can join us. There's so much great stuff that's coming out of the work that you're doing and serving our real estate community and empowering us and giving us the tools to be successful. So yeah, this has been awesome, guys. Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you so much for hosting us. This has been really, really insightful.
So I'm getting a message that we can't, the QR code doesn't work. Should I just
It just goes to, if you just type, guys, in zerotodiamond.com in a browser.
The same place? Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
It'll go to the same place. Yep.
I'm going to type that in again too. Zerotodiamond.com. If you want to click on that, that'll take you right there. Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
This has been awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Inspiring for all of us that do marketing in any kind. So great stuff.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Have a great one.
Be good.
Zerotodiamond.com, guys. Thank you.